Well, welcome to day 3 of 31 Days in Proverbs. Really looking forward to our time together today. Wanted to let you know that I desired to keep these between 8 and 10 minutes long, and there's just so much in them, it's really difficult to do that. So I hope that you bear with me. This proverb, Proverb 3, chapter 3, looks a little bit more like the terrain after chapter 9. Remember on day 1, I spoke that chapter 1 through 8 would be a unit, and then chapter 9 through 30 or 29 would be another unit. And the reason is chapter 1 through 8, the thought is developed a little more. A statement is made, and then it is kind of developed, right? And then you get to chapter 9, and then it's just what I call like tweets on Twitter, just thought, right? There's no really developing the thought. It's just making a statement and then moving on, making a wise statement. And so Proverbs 3 looks a little more. There's some development in it. You'll see that here in a minute, but it looks more like chapter 1 through 9. Let's jump in here and take a look. And today I am reading in the New International, for those of you who are taking notes, the NIV. My son, and this has a paternal appeal. My son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commandments in your heart, for they will prolong your life many years and bring you peace and prosperity. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in sight of God and men. And then it goes to the next thought. So you see there, it is developed a little, but then it goes on to the very next thought. But let's focus here on 1 through 4. Here in verses 1 through 4 in Proverbs 3, it has a paternal appeal. So teachers, parents, are to teach their kids the law. Grandparents, not only that, let's go back. The Shema Israel. Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind. We know that. This is where you are to teach the children. The commandments that I give you, you are to impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, when you get up. Tie them as symbols. Hey, that's like the whole day. Talk about this sort of thing, right? And not only that, but the kings were to write the law out by hand. You can see that this is from Deuteronomy 17, when he takes the throne, when the king takes the throne of his kingdom. He shall write for himself on a scroll the copy of the law, taken from that of the Levitical priests. And so he is to do this as he reigns. Children, learn from your parents, grandparents. Kings, learn from the priests. Write this stuff down. It's really emphasizing the importance of God's law, that God's commands, when it says, my son, don't forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. He's saying that wisdom is found in the commandments. God's teaching is the wisdom. And we see this, the importance of this, in Josiah. Okay, just real quick, we're looking at some history here, and you can find this in 2 Kings chapters 22 through 23, and also another telling of the same story in 2 Chronicles 34 through 35. There's this king called Josiah, and the people of Israel, the people of the southern kingdom of Judah had really gone off the rails. They were in idol worship. They weren't keeping any of God's laws. And then someone finds a scroll, and they bring it to Josiah and say, look what I found. And Josiah read it. He read what we're talking about, back here, all of God's laws. He reads this and is completely wrecked in a good way, and he does a great reform, a total restoration in the kingdom. He gathers all the people and reads the law to the people, and they began worshiping again. He tears down the idols, he tears down the false god temples, and all of this. You can see how easily society goes off the rails when God's commands are forgotten. Wisdom gone. That's why this is important. It is important. You think about American history, and there was a time where they prayed in school, public school, and the Ten Commandments were on the wall. Now, many people would say, well, what good is that? That's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It's not going to do any good. There was a noticeable deterioration in America when those things left the classroom. I don't think that the Ten Commands and prayer are, some magical wish to fix things, but it does represent a start of a people, just like our friend Josiah here, that there could be a restoration, that God could bless this country and bring us back to, some sanity. But when those things left, just like they left in Israel, things really begin to deteriorate, get worse, and get worse. The problem I have is not that people like me that are 25 and 35 and 45 and 55 and 75 and so on, it's not that those people who are out of school, out of college, and have moved on with life are calling for the Ten Commandments to be put in school, but they don't know the Ten Commandments. Many people, many adults who go to church every Sunday can't recite them. They can hit some of them, but they can't hit all of them. So if it's something that you're promoting or something that you think is good, I think it's not only good for them, it's good for you and me. It's good for all of us. So that's it. Let's go back. We're talking about here that the commands are wisdom. Put them in your heart. Now, I want to show you some coupling. I'm going to show you here back in this slide from first. This is called couplets. This is just a literary device. I'll show you another one in a minute. This is Hebrew poetry. So I'll just write, in Hebrew poetry, you have line 1, a statement is made. And then line 2, the statement is repeated in a different way. You'll see this all throughout the Psalms as well. Okay? It's very common. My son, don't forget my teaching. Keep my commands in your heart. See, it's a restatement of line 1 in another way. For they will prolong your life many years, statement 1, and bring you peace and prosperity, statement 2. Let's look at a couplet over here in verse 5. My favorite verse. I told you, it's in top 10. So if you were taking bets, shame on you. Shouldn't gamble. You're in the right class. We'll teach you some wisdom. Couplet. Here we have, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Line 1. Line 2, and lean not on your own understanding. Kind of a restatement of line 1. In all your ways, submit to him. Line 1. And he will make your paths straight. Line 2. So you see that this couplet, you're going to find that all throughout the Proverbs. You're going to find it all throughout the Psalms. Statement, restatement. Statement, restatement. And I find that pretty cool. So I wanted to introduce this idea today. I wanted to see this literary device. And this, which is one of my favorite passages, it's in the top 10, probably top 5, as I told you. This passage here restates our thing 1 from yesterday. Remember thing 1 from yesterday? Wisdom is not a pride thing. That's from yesterday. That's not today. Wisdom is not a pride thing. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. This is a God thing. He will make our paths straight. He is the source of our wisdom. Okay, let's do our three things for today. Thing number one, from chapter 3, verse 3. It says that the righteous live long and prosper, and the evil don't. Well, this goes back to one of those general statements that we talked about on day one, that these are just general truths. Sometimes righteous people don't live long. But on average, they do. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Bind them around your neck and write them in the tablet of your heart. Verse 4, so you will find favor and good success in the sight of God and man. So, if you trust in the Lord with all your heart, you will live long and prosper. Generally, that's true. But sometimes it's not true. Sometimes evil people prosper. Yep. Verse 11 and 12. Discipline doesn't mean that you're in the wrong. When you are in discipline of the Lord, I believe it's Hebrews chapter 12. I should have written that down, but I didn't. But he talks about the Lord disciplines those he loves. This doesn't mean that you're in timeout or getting detention or, out of the pool, that sort of thing. Disciple, that's the word comes from disciple, comes in many different forms, many different ways. Think of it this way. You find yourself a little out of shape. You look in the mirror and say, I could stand to lose about 35 or 40 pounds, but I would be happy with 10 to 15. So what do? Maybe you start walking. Maybe if you're not mobile or you don't want to go out and walk, maybe you just start dieting. Maybe you do both. Maybe you hit the gym. Start burning a little. So this is a form of discipline. And you're not punishing yourself. You're bringing yourself under authority, saying, I want a certain thing, and to get that certain result, I've got to do a certain thing. And so the Lord disciplines us in various ways to stop thought patterns, to stop, to begin a habit. He will bring us through certain things. It doesn't mean that you are in trouble. So often is the case when we hear discipline, we just think we're in trouble. You're not in trouble when you want to lose a few pounds. You just say, I'm not happy where I'm at. I want to do better. And sometimes the Lord does that with us in our sanctification. That's a key word. Sanctification means growing in holiness. So as we grow in holiness, there are things that happen through our lives that push us in the direction of holiness. I think of my Uncle Johnny. He passed away back in 99. But Uncle Johnny lived in Euclid. He was about 2 or 3 blocks away from Lake Erie, and there was a pier, and he would go out there and fish. When he retired, he would go out and fish, I think, almost every day. Most days of the week he was out on that pier. But he was telling me that he was trying to learn patience, and I thought this was a nut job of an idea. Maybe you like it. It sticks out, but he would, on purpose, on a hot day, put his shoelace in a knot, yank it tight, and sit there in the hot sun beating on him, and he wouldn't leave until he got the knot out. And he's like, I would get frustrated, but I was learning patience. That's discipline. Not one that I would recommend, but that is discipline. So, okay, thing number 3. Living in wisdom is to imitate the Creator. Divine wisdom guided the Lord at creation. And so because the Creator used wisdom in creation, wisdom permeates the creation. And so to pursue wisdom, to gain wisdom, is to imitate the Creator. Isn't that great? The humility is the key. It is God given, as we learned yesterday, but it is a God quality that we can pursue. So those are our three things for today. And that wraps up our time for day 3 of 31 days in Proverbs. Again, I remind you, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email or text them to me. You could try to leave them in the comments. Just email or text. That's probably best, because I don't check all those comments sometimes. But anyway, I hope you're enjoying this time together in the Proverbs. Have a terrific rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.